Hello and welcome to Big Scott 35, the Saturday chat about the week there was and the week that will be. Wearing my Iowa shirt for my friends in Iowa. The Lady Hawks beat the streak of South Carolina, and my girl, the woman Dawn Staley from University of Virginia. That was bittersweet for me because I do pull for South Carolina because of Dawn Staley. But, man, my friends in Iowa, they're just loving it. Congratulations to them. My buddy texted me last night. He's actually in Vegas this weekend for a wedding. But he said he won some money due to Iowa and him being a Hawkeye, huge Hawkeye fan. He was feeling no pain. He said he was buying drinks for anybody that walked by and said, "Go Hawks." So good for him. So, man, congratulations to Iowa. For not having, I want to say this in a respectful way, because with Virginia, winning national championships is tough. And to even be in the battle for it is tough. So I know how you feel, and when you get that chance, I see. I'm glowing for you guys. I'm happy for y'all. Let's see what else. So my week started off with the MLB preview. Great show. Had Mike and Westergriff, Dave from Midlife Card Crisis, Nats Man. Guys I talked to about baseball and cards quite a bit. So it was just a natural discussion. I try to keep us on the rails, but with us, that's tough. And then we had our draft, and we contemplated doing that one live. And we're kind of glad we didn't, because we didn't. It was tough sledding, and the rules are a little weird. So we were trying to. We stayed on talking with each other during the draft, but it would have been fun to do that live as well. But maybe next time and next year. But that was fun. I haven't seen what I did for day 2. Day 1, I'm playing James Elite Hunters. It's a Hall of Fame group plus Scott. It's kind of funny that way. And so he put it in on me on the first day, but it's a pitching heavy league, and he had 2 pitchers going and only had 1, so it'll come out in a wash at the end. I'm hoping when I get some more pitchers going today, because all the teams are back playing. Yesterday was only 5 games, I think. So with that, hopefully it'll come out in the wash. And I'll talk a little bit about that as the year goes, how it's going for me with that. And if anybody wants to see my roster or anything more, just let me know in the comments below. Let's see. Wednesday showed off some pickups. Pete Alonso heavy again. It's kind of, I don't have the same funds I did when I was in Iowa. I was paying a lot less to live. And I'm kind of feeling it on the car fund, the card fund. And so I just have to get everything back. And I want to be a little bit more, as I get older, trying to get my finances straight for the second half of my life. Just restricting myself a little bit more. I think this next one I'm going to look to get, if I get only 1 card, I get only 1 card for the 2 weeks. Some weeks, 2 weeks, I might not be able to get any. Depends on what life happens, right? So showed off some nice cards, some actual hits out of boxes. So that was, I thought was fun. I love adding cards to my PC, and also just cards in general. I have a big collection of really non-PC stuff as well, and I don't know. I give it away. I sell it very cheap. I try to find homes for some of the stuff. Uh, so if there's anything, a player you're looking for that you think I don't PC or we could talk about, you could always hit me up. Be happy to sell lots or particular card you're looking for. Uh, I don't have any old stuff. I don't have the vintage, but uh, you know, anything on up. I got a lot of holes in the 90s too. I hate to say that. 90s was very strapped, and I was kind of doing dumb, as many 20-year-olds, I was doing fun stuff to me at the time. As looking back, probably dumb stuff. But that's just the way it goes. Getting back. So Thursday, started the baseball season. I tried to get under a minute. It was like a minute and something, so it wouldn't let me do it as a short, and I wasn't going to try to shorten it anymore. Just kind of off the cuff, a welcome to the season. Let's go to the baseball fans. # watch the games. Ed started that. I am 100% with them. The more I watch channels, I question. I assumed that everybody watched games, but the more I watch and the more I see it's about numbers and figures and not what's on the cards. And the reasonings for buying cards, I question. And this is a hobby on many different levels, I guess. And people were saying this is not one community; it's many communities. I still think it's one community with subsets within community. It just depends on what your definition of community is. With many cliques. Many people living in dead end streets, cul-de-sacs in the community. But the more and more I think people just hear names, see what's the big cards, watch influencers to get their information. All you gotta do is # watch the games, man. Or at least watch MLB Tonight or ESPN. Watch highlights. You'll see what players are. Look at stats and see what players are doing. Watch a talk show and you see who they're talking about. It's not rocket science, or as a friend of mine used to say, rocket surgery. So it's just # watch the games. I can't say anything else. So on with the rest of the week. So Thursday, my Mets won their game opener. They have the best record since day one season opener of them. Best record on season opener. Too bad you don't get a trophy for that. And they just not hitting. And I'll talk more about that on my Monday show that I'm going to do with my dad. We're going to be talking baseball on Mondays, solving all the baseball problems or rejoicing in them, either or. So be looking out for that on Mondays. And then let's see. And then we're here. I wanted to do a nerdy Thursday. Had an MRI done early Monday morning. I get off work late at night, so I didn't get much sleep. Did the MRI, came back, went back to bed, tried to till I went to work. It was a long day. I never could. And then we went to work early on Friday to get off early. They'd start a weekend. Good news is there's no major damage to my shoulder, but there is a slight tear on something. So waiting to hear back from my doctor. But that sucker hurts sometimes. So did that on Thursday, little personal news, but everything's gonna be fine. watched the games again on Friday. The Mets losing. First 2 days, as expected, rusty baseball, just not very good. Pitchers not lasting a long time. Couple of injuries here and there. That's the way early baseball goes. A lot of big scores. Just, the pitching will catch up. And what was more, a couple of quick bits, and I'll talk more about this on Monday in Sunday Night Show. Looks like stealing is going to be a big deal now. And I was shocked at that. And I think how many home runs were hit on opening day in cold weather. That's something to look at for this season. I don't know if the balls are livelier. I'm not trying to start a conspiracy or anything, but usually balls don't start jumping until you start getting hot, humid days. Just look like some rifles being hit. And, sometimes these guys hit bombs. They don't matter what day of the year, what park you're in. Don't matter if you're in Yosemite or Wrigley. They're going to go out. They're bombs. It's just how it is. These guys are huge now. They're shape. I think that's where a lot of those ab problems come into too. Their core is just so strong that sometimes they just, too tight. And I would be perfect. I'm not very tight. My core is great. But anyway, so that's it for that. Not much along for. I tell you, if you have time, or if you're doing something with cards or waiting for a ball game, or I have listened to my last one was a podcast in the car. Break it up. It's almost 2 hours, but it was a fun one to do. And if you haven't checked out Westergriff, Myco, or Midlife Card Crisis, you should. Very good channels. And it was 2 Philly fans, 2 Mets fans. So that was that, and a Nationals fan, White Sox fan. And I have been watching Orioles. I was happy with the Orioles. But let me get on it. It is WrestleMania weekend. I don't know if I'm going to watch it or not. The Mets are playing early, so I could. I'm not a big WWE fan right now, but I could talk about that on another day. I might do a one-off show where if I watch WrestleMania, give my thoughts on it, whatever. But let's look at some of my my autos and mem cards, stuff that I have. Little spotlight. So first is going to be some Leafs, 2014 Leafs Goldberg. This is out of 25. And I'm not a big Leaf fan, but at the time was just a good way to get some autos. Nasty Boys out of 99. And I don't know why they're numbered certain ways. Only if that was how many they signed. I have no idea. TNA, Rhino, which I love. I was picking up, I still do, ECW guys. Bob Holly. I think I remember him, and this one isn't numbered at all. And he went through a table and got the metal piece stuck in his back. That was nasty. TNA Impact. This is Austin Aries, which spent a little bit of time, but he's a little bit of a head case with more I read. Expects a lot out of companies, wants a lot. This is when he was in NXT. This is out of 25. It does have a piece of, I don't know what's, let's see. Yeah, it just says relic cards. So, and that dude, man, he is good, and he is good. He's just a smaller guy. Out of 99, worked for what is it? Worked for his hashtag family or whatever. Heath Slater. He had a good gimmick at the end. He was a worker, and then he had a good gimmick, and then they let him go. Now I think he's in ROH or one of the other ones. Eve Torres, the Divas, just not the greatest in ring talent, but when at the time she did her job very well. She's a beautiful young lady, still is. Uh, this is Winter out of Impact. She had a very good indie career as well. I love this guy. One of my favorite announcers, Jerry the King Lawler. And I got this card, like, I got it out of a box. I think it was a Masterworks. And it was right around the time when he had his heart attack ringside during a match. Gerald Briscoe out of the Leaf product, and that's an actual 1 of 1. So Gerald Briscoe. This is Tommaso Ciampa from NXT out of 99. That's a pretty cool patch on there out of his t-shirt. 12 of 99. He was awesome in ROH. He's okay in NXT still to this day. One of the greatest divas in ECW history. Francine. And she went on to work in one of the ladies' wrestling ones. It wasn't WOW, but it was another one that was trying to take off. Another great high flyer. Hopefully, they let him have a couple more runs before the end of his career. But he's going to be a lifer in WWE, and that's Kofi Kingston out of 25. The man that lost his accent in the middle of a speech in the ring on the mic, was talking Jamaican and lost his accent during a shoot interview. Dolph Ziggler, another great worker, tops. He has had a couple of title reigns. I think the United States or Intercontinental, and then tag. I don't think he's ever won one of the big ones. EY, Eric Young. This guy could be the greatest heel or the greatest baby face. Another great worker. He wasn't in NXT very long. I think he might have come back, or he might see him this weekend. But he has been in our Impact, back in Impact. Another great worker, Sheamus, who's pretty much won all the belts, 9 out of 99. I don't think he's won them all, and this is a guy that they keep, Shane. I forget what he's called now, but very good worker. Then part of, and I had this guy's auto a couple times out of 199. Seth Rollins. And this is one of my favorite on the mic guys. Maybe not the greatest in-ring technician, but he could wrestle. It's not like he couldn't. Goldberg is probably the worst wrestler I've ever seen. But this guy, Road Dogg, great mic skills. And the more that you see, like, all these behind the scenes and all that, and everybody else, like how he used to come out, and a lot of stuff was just off the top of his head, makes it more amazing. And, I mean, as soon as you hear that, But I called some. It was just like, oh, you didn't know? This is just a couple of patches that I got here lately out of the AEW Spectrum. Moxley, one of my favorite wrestlers ever, Taz, but this is him as an announcer. Would love to get a Taz auto. I don't think ECW actually made cards, so that's like when the Leaf and things like that, a third party that just gets contracts, sometimes is your best bet. This is one of the most improved female wrestlers. I mean, she started so young in NXT with Enzo. She's grown up a lot, and I mean, they rewarded her with the belt. And she plays a little bit crazy, but that is fun. And this is out of 75, and that's Liv Morgan. Another Jerry the King. These are ones that I keep up on my behind me in my shelf. Some of these here. This is one of the females that's been there forever. I think they need to reward her with a long championship run. Natalia. She's just a great worker. She puts over a lot of the other females and just she does it all. This is the Kofi Kingston, another 1-of-1 I have. Pretty Prate auto. Pulled it. Didn't purchase it. Pulled it. Not that big of a Kofi fan. I am a Kofi fan, just not that big of a Kofi fan. I don't want to sound like, oh, I don't like Kofi. One of the greatest female wrestlers all time. ECW to WWE, Lita. The greatest bad guy of all time. And if you want to go check out his better stuff as an ROH out of 199, Fight Owens Fight. Kevin Owens. But as Kevin Steen in ROH, oh, they had no brakes on that guy. He could do whatever he wanted. Another guy that a lot of people don't like, he's got his demons, out of 25, Dean Ambrose. He keeps going back to what is it, GCW or whatever. I don't understand why he's doing that, but AEW. Roman Reigns having a great run right now in WWE. He is a bright spot, and that whole angle with him is awesome. He is carrying in the company right now, but they are just missing some support, and they know it. They know it. They're trying. The AEW can get their act together and actually put on just good show after good show and stop with being all over the place and having, to me, they're too all over. Like too many wrestlers. You got a couple of different shows. You got to have your main roster and then put the other ones on dark YouTube. Use YouTube to promote some of the other wrestlers. You can't sign every big name wrestler and try to do something with them. This is a Matt auto with, I told you I had another one, Seth Rollins. And this is his new character. I would like to get the other sister on this one too. I had 25, Nikki Bella. It's just something I don't really look for is a lot of autos for wrestling. There's a couple that I really would like to get. I like to get Briggs. I think them two kind of revolutionized and hear me out. They came in as pretty faces with the Laurinaitis hired them as, good looking. They were Hooters girls, but they developed to be good wrestlers. Kind of Trish Stratus became a great wrestler with Lita, and they were lucky enough to work with Lita, Trish Stratus, and some of these girls that Beth Phoenix, some of the women that could, women that could wrestle, just straight up. You know, I think they, by the end of their careers, they knew what they were doing, and they were more than only have two moves. This is my favorite character, probably since The Undertaker. When I was a kid, Finn Balor, the Demon. Again, NXT, they did it right. If you go back to NXT Takeover in England, God, I wish I knew what year it was. And he wrestled, wasn't the Sisuke, it was, God, what's his name? I forget who he wrestled. I can see the match in my head. But that night, he come in, and also when Bayley wrestled that night, that was some of the greatest matches. That NXT Takeover was awesome. The problem with the NXT Takeover, then they were a lot better WWE the next night pay-per-views. They blew them out the water. And I think it was because the wrestlers were so hungry, and they were still doing, if they had indie wrestlers like Finn Balor and stuff, they were doing indie stuff. They were putting on shows. And Vince doesn't like that. He likes the wrestling, you know. He likes stiff moves and stuff like that. Doesn't want his guys to get hurt. Then Sasha Banks, my favorite female wrestler of all times. 9.5. My favorite wrestler is The Undertaker. I think I mentioned that before. I do not have an Undertaker auto. I love Taz. I love Kevin Owens. Let's see. That's probably right now. You know, in AEW, I'm a Sting fan from back in the day, but it's not the same Sting. I'm not a Darby Allin fan. So does other guys in AEW. I like to watch. I watch highlight shows and stuff like that. A lot of them don't have mic skills, and they still need some polishing in the ring. WWE gets them on mic skills a lot because they can practice. They have Hollywood type people writing for them, actor coaches and all that. So if they're willing to listen and learn, they can learn it. But that's my showcase of my wrestling. I do have a bunch of wrestling cards as well. Not nearly as much as baseball, but I have probably two 3,500 box count packed of wrestling cards. I don't have anything of the 80s. I wish I did. I used to, but they have gotten away from me, and they were just destroyed, just demolished. You know, I was in the 80s. I was a teenager for most of the part. Now that I think about it, but I just didn't take care, and it wasn't baseball cards. Baseball cards to me was everything at that time. So that's my showcase. So this week we'll get into that now. Tomorrow night, me and Nats Man, we'll talk about how the baseball season and what where cards are going. Probably looking at seeing if there's any new product. We'll talk about Big League. We're going to talk. I guess we're going to talk about Beckett and their fumble. Anything y'all want to bring up, we can talk about. So we'll talk about that back at 8:00 tomorrow night. Me and Nats Man, unless somebody wants to come on, they can let me know. Then Wednesday, I have a stack and maybe even more of returns. SGC, CSG, and I have a PSA return coming that I've been waiting since last July. So that the ransom, I can't remember if that's one card or a stack of cards. I have several out. So we'll be showing that because I want to get those back in my collection. SGC, getting those back within a week. It's more about getting the amount out that we need. And the PSA or CSG, 6 weeks. Again, it's about them starting the clock. But until then, let's see. And then I'll do an early Thursday. And that's about it. We'll see you tomorrow night. Me and That's Man, 8 o'clock. Like, share, tell a friend. Until then, we'll see ya.